Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited to have you all here because it is January, which means we made it through another year, and it is 2025, which means that everybody at the moment is into telling you all of their goals as well as just doing some financial wrap-ups from the last year. And that's kind of what I wanted to do as well. I wanted to tell you guys about my plans for a 2025 low to no spend year. And so if you're into that, please stay tuned. And for those of you who are not familiar with me, my name is Bo. I'm 31 years old and I live in Seattle, Washington. And I'm on a journey to reach $1 million net worth by the time I reach retirement age. So if you are into that, please stay tuned and we will get right into the video. So as you guys already know, if you've been following my budget videos, last year in 2024, I really struggled with my spending. I had an issue with not overindulging in my $500 allocation that I was giving myself. And it ended up amounting to around $15,000 of wasted money. And, even though it's better than 2022, when I spent an extra $30,000, there was still a lot of room for improvement. And so in my other budgeting videos, the one that I had posted earlier in this month, I did mention that I was going to be really strict about how much I spend on a day-to-day basis and on a monthly basis. And this is just part of that. So in order for me to reach these no spend goals, that is something that I need to lay as a foundation. And so this year I wanted to focus on low spend, no spend strategies so that by the end of the year, I can spend less than $10,000 on miscellaneous goods. And I really think that I can do it if I just stick to this plan. So what exactly is a low to no spend year? Because for everyone, it's different. So for me, a low to no spend year means that you're still gonna be buying things that's within your budget. Each category, the way that you've been doing, you're gonna allocate, whether that includes makeup and self-care, that's up to you. But anything outside of that category, we're not buying. If we don't necessarily need it, if it's not life-changing, then we're not gonna buy it. Low spend means outside of the budget, we're not gonna be spending our money, we're not gonna be swiping our cards. We're really gonna be intentional with where we purchase and when and why we purchase. So what does that look like? For me, it looks like asking myself, why is it that I feel like I need this item? Waiting 48 hours before I decide to make a purchase, even if it's within my budget. If I don't necessarily need a new lotion because I'm not done with my current one, I need to wait some time to see if I actually need this lotion. And then when it comes down to it, just being able to sit with yourself and see the things that you have already as good enough. That for me is what my low to no spend buy year is going to look like. It's going to be a strategy that is broken up into a few steps, simple, easy, and all I really need to do in order to succeed is follow these rules, and I should be able to have a successful 2025 financially. This is how I plan to spend my low to no spend year. Step one involves my budget. I'm going to include items that I need and want to buy in my budget ahead of time. When we start our budgets at the beginning of the year, we already have somewhat of an idea of big purchases that we want to make. So for me, it was in 2022 when I made that purchase for my coffee machine. And since then, it's definitely paid for itself because we haven't drank coffee from outside sources in almost 3 years. And so things like that, ahead of time that you want to buy. And so when it comes to buying and budgeting for larger items, there are only two right now that are on my radar that I will disclose to you once it gets closer to that time to buy. And outside of those two items, I don't plan on buying anything else or spending over my allocated budget of $150 a month. Let's see if I can do it. My second step also has something to do with my budget, and that is to use my extra money, any extra money that I get, whether that within my checkings account buffer, or if that's from a bonus that I get from work, or if I end up with some sort of a windfall, say from a class action lawsuit or something like that, that is what I'm going to use in order to make these purchases. Now, because I want to go about it this way, it doesn't even guarantee that I will make those purchases. And the reason why I'm doing it this way is because the two items that I do plan to buy are not life and death items. And because they're not life or death, I don't necessarily want to use my already allocated spending towards it. And so what my plan was to wait until I got my bonus at work for one of the items, and then also to wait until a certain amount of time where I could accumulate on my checkings account buffer for the second item. And just for full disclosure, both of the items together still equal less than $1,000. But to me, anything over $50 to me is kind of a large purchase. And so that's why they're being categorized as such. My third step in order to have a successful low to no spend year is to be generous when making my budget. So what does this mean? It doesn't necessarily mean putting more money towards things that are in each category on my budget, but it means to include things that I would normally spend in my miscellaneous category so that I have an allocation for that item. For example, beauty, hair care. These are things that I used to spend on frivolously because I wouldn't add them into my budget. But now that I have a specific line item that's called self-care, I can add my beauty and my hair care to that and give a specific amount of money each month. And if I don't use that money in the first month, I can move it over to the second month. It can accumulate or it could stay the same. I really haven't decided yet. But because that is there, it makes it so that if I do spend money on those things, if I decide to buy a chapstick or if I decide to buy hair grease or a new blow dryer, that is all part of my beauty fund. And as long as I stay within my budget, I'm not overspending at all. And the last step is no impulse buying on items that I don't need. So what does that mean? For me, it means that if I see a nice new coat or if I see some really nice shoes, I'm not gonna buy it. I'm only gonna be spending money on things that I've already planned from the beginning of the year. So anything that's not included in my line items of my budget, anything outside of the two items that I plan to buy in 2025, and anything that's not included in my sinking funds. Anything that's not in those three things, I'm not gonna buy. I will always allocate what's in my budget for extra spending, what's in my budget for travel and things like that. But if it's anything miscellaneous, like say a new membership, a new subscription, or even an extra expensive gift, then I'm gonna refrain from buying it this year just because I really wanna get into the habit of not spending frivolously just because something is available to me. So those are the 4 things that I'm going to be doing in order to have a successful low to no spend year for 2025. But I am more interested in what you guys are going to be doing. Are you guys up for this challenge? Please let me know in the comments if you'll be joining me, and I will see you in the next video.